What's up, guys? I'm Nick Steiner, this is Brett Coletta, and welcome to an all-new episode of Coffee and Carts, where we give you guys inside view to the players and coaches out there and a little bit about their game and a little bit about their lives. Brett, you ready to do it?
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right, guys, so we're out here today at the Sandhurst Golf Club Champions Course, par 4, 13th hole. What are we thinking, Brett?
Just going to go over the left side of that bunker, hopefully. Yeah, first shot of the day. Not really sure what to expect, but
straight out of the car.
Straight out of the cart. Early in the morning, cold.
You did have your coffee, though.
Did have my coffee. We'll see how we go. Maybe.
Maybe?
Wasn't bad, but it wasn't great, but we'll see. We'll have a look.
A little bit out to the right there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be okay.
I think so.
We'll find it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So your journey, Brett, where did you first start playing your golf? What kind of got you involved in the game? Let's hear a little bit about your story and your journey.
Yeah, so I started playing when I was about 7. Via my dad, took me to a range and abbreviated club and just kind of got the bug through there. Played at Sandhurst pretty much my whole life now, and yeah, just played the junior stuff growing up, the amateur stuff, worked my way through the ranks and then turned pro, I think 8 years ago now. So yeah, that's kind of my journey in a nutshell.
Yeah, nice. And was there, pennants for you kind of growing up? Was there, junior tournaments? When did you really start to decide, hey, this is something I want to take a little bit more seriously and, further your journey into, there actually might be something here to playing this professionally? Yeah,
it's a good question. I can't pinpoint a moment. It was just kind of a gradual increase. I got the exposure to play kind of some state level stuff, some state team stuff, junior boys, men's amateur stuff. Like I said, I can't pinpoint a moment, but probably when I started seeing results as an amateur.
Yeah.
And then I got inducted into the VIS straight out of high school. And that was a pretty heavy training load and kind of a pretty serious kind of change from, kind of school and then managing around school year golf rather than that, and then just straight into full-time training and stuff like that. So kind of probably at that point I thought, okay, this is more serious now. I'm dedicated my whole life to this game.
Yeah.
And got some results luckily out of it. So that's probably the time, yeah.
Yeah, nice. And do you realize how lucky you are to grow up where you have with these golf courses here in Australia in the Sandbelt?
Yeah, the older I get, the more understanding I am of the situation we've had growing up. Yeah. Especially all of us here in Australia that play golf. Yeah. We are unbelievably lucky.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was talking with some people this morning on a call, and they were like, oh man, I just can't wait to get down to the Sandbelt and check that out. And it truly is one of those bucket list places. If you've watched a few of our episodes, you've seen these courses, and you'll get to see a little bit of this course that we're at today, which actually was the home for PGA traineeship for quite a long period of time as well.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, they had qualifying school here.
Yeah, nice.
For the Oz Tour. Back in the day, they had the PGA champs, probably 10, 15 years ago now. Yep. I remember coming down as a little tacker, watching that, all the pros, and just admiring them.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, cool. And we're just off the fairway here. I think you still got a pretty good look at the shot at the green. And let's do it.
All right.
Like we said, they're just a little bit off the fairway here. You've had a chance to take a look at it a little bit. How far are we? What are we thinking?
We have 112 hole. Pins in the middle, so pretty fortunate. I've just avoided some trees there, some little scattered stuff, so we have a clear shot. I'm going to hit my 54 degree.
Okay.
It's still a little bit cold, a little bit dewy, so I think I can take a pretty full swing at this.
Yeah.
Even though I might get a little bit of a flyer.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. It's sitting pretty good, actually.
Just have a look at that there. Probably not going to get too much grass behind that. Is that something that you'd be worried about in a situation like this, or?
Yeah, if my lie was a little different, if it had a lot more grass behind it and I was going to make contact with the grass before the ball, then yeah, I'd be a bit worried about the flyer. Yep. But like I said, it is pretty soft, it is wet, and it is early, so the ball's not going to be doing anything silly and running off the back, I hope. So 54 degree, I think I've got a green light to full swing at it. So
center of the green?
Yeah, maybe just a touch left of it.
Yeah, okay.
Green slopes left to right.
Well done. Great shot.
Thanks.
We talked a little bit there about how lucky we are to be where we're at.
Yep.
But you only realize that through getting a chance to travel. Where have you gone? Where has this great game taken you? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate enough to travel most of the earth due to this game, from a young age too.
Yeah,
so
nice.
I think as you get older and more mature, you kind of take a bit more appreciation of where you're going. I got the experience quite early in my career going to places like South America and Europe and stuff like that, which was great. I did really enjoy it, and the experience was great.
So did you do the Sunshine Tour or any of that?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's South Africa, but
I
sorry.
did.
That's,
Well, sounds the same, different country.
yeah, South America is Latin America. I didn't do that. I did the Canada tour actually.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I did the Canada tour. That was where I kind of kicked off my early in my career. Went over there for qualifying school, got in and played a season out there. That got me through to Korn Ferry final stage where I finished out there. I think it was top 10 maybe.
Yeah.
And then, got through Korn Ferry first go, which was an unbelievable experience that week. That was something else, but it was not something I'd recommend to do often.
Yeah.
Just for your heart.
Yeah. And that sort of moment and that, take us through that. Was it the final part of that round? Was it once you finally made it? Was it the day leading up to it? Take us through that as a player of all these moments that you've built up. You've got to travel these places. You're finally watching all your dreams come to life. Yeah,
it's probably just an accumulation of time. Just keep showing up and keep playing well. I think that season up in Canada did really teach me some things that I couldn't learn down here. Basically just learning how to score and going as low as you possibly can. Because out here, a lot of the times you do play these sandbelt courses and they're set up quite tough and it's quite firm, windy a lot of the time. And even par's a pretty good score. But you go out to Canada, you go out to America, Korn Ferry, anywhere really, look at the scores these days. You shouldn't even par, you're coming nearly dead last sometimes.
Yeah.
So it was a good opportunity to just learn how to play and score and just be more and more satisfied with lower and lower numbers without getting spooked out by being 6 under through 10.
Yeah. And what is that big difference for people at home to give them a chance to know? Again, we have quite a few Australian, UK, and US listeners. Between those kind of courses, is it the type of grasses? Is it the way the ball feeds in? Is it the clubs that you're using? What are some of the significant changes that you had to adapt to real quick?
Probably the most obvious one would be time zone change.
Yeah.
So obviously you play a lot of the time jet lagged.
Yeah.
Somewhat. So there's that factor in there as well. But from a true kind of standpoint of grass and stuff like that, the further you get, or the closer you get to the equator, the more grainy it's going to be. So therefore, you got to be a bit more sharp with your wedges, a bit more kind of knowledgeable of how the club goes into the ground and exits the ground and what the ball does in reaction to that. And then on the flip side, the further away you get from it, the more it turns to kind of what we have bent grass here and stuff like that, where it's a bit more forgiving, but can be quite firm. So kind of like your Scottish stuff that you see, your links golf, your sandbelt stuff for down here even, it gets really firm and you've got to be really precise with your approach.
Yeah, nice. Well, you had a great approach here. We're looking at a birdie opportunity, so let's get out there and watch Brett attack. Good shot in here.
Thank you.
Are you an aim point person?
I am not, but I do know and have previously used it, yes. So I understand the concept. In fact, no, I don't technically use it, but I do use it somewhat, if that makes sense. I'll use my feet to kind of align, to kind of feel if I'm getting tricked by my eyes. But I won't do the finger stuff. That stuff kind of challenges me. I'm not really sure how to do it.
Okay. Left to right?
Very minimal. I think it's going to be quite quick. It feels quite firm under my feet.
The greens are looking good.
Yeah, I think it's a double breaker. Early left, left, right. This is a kind of range where you'd like to be holing them, but you just can't be too aggressive. I think 2-putting here is doing your job. A 1-putt here is a bonus. Probably should have hit it a little closer off from that approach, but
Is there green light situations that you definitely feel when you're out there on tour of like, yeah, you know what, just get this one close and I'm happy to walk away with this? Is that something that is going through your head in the moment at times?
For sure.
Yep.
For sure. There's certain times when you got a number in or let's say less than a certain number and the pin's in a spot where there's no real danger.
Yep.
Then yeah, sometimes you walk off the green, you're pretty disappointed with making 4 or 5 on a par 5. Right, we'll give this a roll, eh?
Pretty good. Solid par. Well done.
Thanks.
Nice par.
Thank you.
Back to your journey.
Yeah.
It's been a long one.
It has. Thanks for reminding me of my age.
Oh man, we won't get into that. But yeah, so Korn Ferry. Yeah, tell me about that. That's pretty cool. Like,
yeah, Korn Ferry. I got through qualifying end of 2018, so it qualified me for the 2019 season.
Yep.
How old was I? I was only probably 21, 22 at the time, right?
Yep.
So quite young. I'd been a pro for 3-4 years before that, so I was kind of familiar with the pro life. But yeah, it gave me a little bit of a shock. It was a very heavy season, schedule-wise. I played well. I was very inconsistent though. I'd show up for maybe 1 or 2 weeks and then disappear for a month. I just wouldn't play well for that month. And I couldn't put my finger on why. I just kind of dealt with it. Just dealt with the inconsistency, and whatever I had on the week I dealt with. Fast forward to the end of the season. I finished 27th on the money list. And 25th gets you to a PGA Tour card, which is pretty devastating. But at the same time, it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it, to be honest. And then the next year came around. I had full category for the next year, so I could plan and pick every event that I liked. I knew all the courses. I knew the places I liked. So I was sitting pretty. I thought, okay, this is my year now. And then obviously the big COVID came around and put a bit of a thorn in it all. I was back actually here in Melbourne when it hit. We had about a month break, and we obviously weren't allowed to touch a club or go outside for that matter for a good chunk of time. Anyway, the tour kind of got moving along over there in America. They said, yeah, we're getting back on with it, and I was stuck here, and I was like, oh, how am I going to get back over there and stuff like that. Anyway, fast forward, I got over there, and then they turned that whole 2021 season into a super season.
Yeah.
So it was an enormous event. I think it was like 50 to 60 events in the space of, 15 to 18 months. Yeah. So I kind of got lost in it all. It was just, I got behind the 8 ball early. I wasn't playing well. And then when you're behind the 8 ball in a freaking 50 plus season, right, you have a good event, you only move up 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah.
It all got a bit much. Didn't play well. End of 2021, I decided that Korn Ferry wasn't for me for the next year. Came home, took a break, reevaluated, played on the Oz tour, got my card out there somewhat, got some starts, played well, and that leads me to Hunter Valley.
Yeah, nice. So leading up into, before we get into Hunter Valley and the recently, found success in the last year or so as well. Lots of events, lots of traveling. You're booking all this yourself.
Yeah.
You're scheduling everything yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every single week. Dealing with hotels, food changes, probably lost bags at times?
I'm pretty fortunate.
Okay.
But I'm not going to touch wood.
Yeah. Well, whatever we got to do.
But yeah, that is the possibility.
Yeah. And being in a place, were there any other Australian tour players that you were with at the time that you could kind of relate with or get a bit of sense of home and conversation? Did you make good mates with guys that were in the U.S. or from other countries? What was it? Or did you feel alone a lot of the time? What sort of mental things were happening while all this was going on?
Yeah, the alone part and the loneliness is definitely a real thing. I was fortunate enough, I was living with a couple of friends over there.
Yeah.
Early days that were playing also on the Korn Ferry Tour, and I got to know pretty much every Aussie out there. And there was a few of us. There was only maybe 6 or so at the time, maybe less. And we all wouldn't play exactly the same weeks, all right? So we got to know them pretty good, and still to this day, great mates with them all. Just because basically an Aussie in a different country, there's just a unique bond that you kind of develop.
Yeah.
But the loneliness thing is real for sure, especially I got quite homesick because I wasn't able to come home because COVID was on.
Yeah.
Right, it was just a complete different world down here.
Yeah.
Complete lockdown, couldn't get in and out of the country.
Yeah.
Cost you a bomb if you wanted to, do the 2-week bloody, what was that, the hotel stay, the quarantine, like, come on now.
Yeah. For those that don't know, and probably a lot of you that do, and hopefully this doesn't bring up too much PTSD for you, but yeah, I mean, Melbourne was the #1 place, probably most locked down, pretty close, in the world. And even just myself, I was living on the Gold Coast at the time. We were incredibly fortunate. I'm very grateful to where, that didn't necessarily happen for us, but I would have, calls from home, calls from family. You're locked down, all these sort of things are happening, but you got to realize, Australia at the end of the day is the size of America. So to compare it, where I lived is like New York, and where it's at down here now is like Florida. It's literally that far away. So what was happening in one area wasn't happening in another area, even though that's what was getting projected to national news. But a lot of people that were down here in Melbourne, you couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. So that loneliness factor only, exaggerated, much larger than what a lot of people were able to experience and go through. And to finally get through that and to, hey, I want to keep following my journey. I want to be able to do that, and to get back out on tour, lead us to that point now. Yeah.
Basically just to reiterate, it was just a terrible time. Like it was no good for anyone living down here or was from here, even trying to get in and out.
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless, we got through that, and then playing on the Oz tour for the 2022 season, playing okay. Not too bad, and then kind of got to the new year, halfway through the season, and rolled up to the TPS Hunter Valley event and got the job done, which was good. I was just saying, because I had won as an amateur in a pro event.
Yep.
And to validate myself to play and win a pro event, that was starting to get a bit of a monkey on my back, just personally.
Yeah.
Just to win a pro event as a pro. So that was arguably one of the bigger weeks of my career for sure, and my life, just to kind of break that monkey off my back that I had developed.
Yeah. And going through that round and getting that, so-called monkey off your back, was it a wire-to-wire win? Was it, you came from behind, you had to hold it? Take us through what that was like for you, battling through that tournament and getting that notch in the cap.
That was, it was a bit of a unique one. I came from behind. I was actually 9 behind.
Oh, wow.
On the last day.
The last day?
The last day.
So they fell back, or you came up? No. Was it a combination of both?
I made the cut on the number.
Oh, wow.
I played good on the Saturday, 4 or 5 under, I can't remember, but it wasn't show-stopping. Just got the job done, did my work.
Yeah.
Right up on the Sunday, I was off at 9:30, and the lead group was off at 1:30.
Yeah.
So I'm off at 4 hours before.
Yeah.
Played my round, shot a course record, 9 under. That got me in the clubhouse, and then they just said, look, you're going to have to wait around.
Yeah.
So I did. I ended up waiting around for 3.5 hours.
The most nerve-wracking 3 hours.
Yeah. Although it was all right. I might have looked a bit nervous, but I was okay. It was just a strange experience. I was just hanging around, and I was watching the lead guys, what was going on.
Yeah.
Right down to the wire, every shot on that back 9. Anyway, it turned out there was a playoff. 4-hole playoff between myself and Lincoln Ty.
Yep.
And got the job done on the 4th playoff hole.
Yeah.
So it was a long day. Like, it was, up at 7, get ready to play, and the presentations were done at about 7. So a 12-hour stint, really. It was special.
Yeah.
It was definitely special. It was one of those days that it just seemed surreal. Everything that happened, and then you get back home that night, 12 hours before, it's like I'm not even thinking about winning.
Yeah, yeah.
And now here I am 12 hours later, it's like, no, I won. Like, what's just happened?
And now I've heard, just some recent, winners that have talked on, through the podcast and different things that we listen to about how they go through a day like that, but how they're still buzzing so much after.
Yeah.
Were you able to get, exhausted and done that night, or I was still riding on so much adrenaline from the win that even after that, I was like, still couldn't sleep?
I was up to about 1 or 2.
Yeah, okay.
Just kind of on social media, just kind of thanking everyone and talking to family and stuff like that. I didn't have family with me there. They were back at home in Melbourne. This was in Newcastle, the Hunter Valley event. And I don't know. I think I was just super wired on adrenaline, as you would be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're just exhausted from the week.
Yeah.
So it's a unique feeling. You are tired, but your brain's like in some sort of mode that you can't explain because you just can't really replicate it, that adrenaline rush that you get from that stuff. Yeah. Especially that day as well, the playoff, just the whole round, It was basically from my 14th hole onwards, because I knew something was special after about 14 holes, and I thought if I can hold on here, play the last, 5 or 6 holes well, I could be in for a chance here. You just know in the back of your mind as a golfer that this is a little bit special here, something's going on. Yeah. So. Cool.
Well, congratulations.
Appreciate it.
And looking forward to watching a little bit more of your game today. So let's get out here. What do we got now in front of us?
This is hole 14, par 4.
Lots of sand.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I can cover them.
All right.
So if you can cover that sand on the right, that far right one there, you're pretty good. Little wedge shot in. So let's do that.
Let's look at it. Hole 14, par 4, looking to cover the traps.
Pretty much.
That'll work.
Yeah. A little left, but...
A little left. That's okay.
Yeah, it's quite a wide fairway, this one. It's quite forgiving, so...
We'll have probably a pretty good look there with the pin on the right, too.
Yeah, I think so.
Just give everybody a look here as we're coming in. We got bunkers on the left. A little bit on the right. Some common waterfowl up ahead. And your ball. Perfect. It's actually a pretty good look in from this side, hey?
Yeah. Okay.
Great drive. We're out on the fairway here, kind of the bottom of this little swale, which is going to work out perfect. Quite a few divots. Thank God we avoided them.
Yeah, it is a little bit tight down here, the grass, so a bit of a premium on strike. We have 86 meters hole. That pin looks very front from here. So probably around 80 front. Yuck, in between club.
So when you're in between clubs, is it choke down, less of a swing? What's your tendencies?
It really depends on the situation. Short here is not a bad miss. It really depends on the miss. So let's say you've got trouble long and you're in between club, you're probably going to take the shorter club, and vice versa. If there's water short, you might take the longer club, or just really step on the shorter club. But then the strike needs to be perfect. I'm going to hit the longer club here, just because I think the greens are quite receptive and going to spin. It's still a little bit cold and dewy this morning, and I know that long's not too bad. And I feel like if I hit a good one of the longer club, which will be the 54 degree, I'll get a better result than a good 60.
All right, let's see it. Bit more of a green light pin here.
Yeah, it's pretty green. It's definitely a harder shot than the last one though. But yeah, it's a green light pin. There's not much trouble around it. 86. Oh.
Great shot.
Thank you.
I say we got a pretty good birdie opportunity. How about you?
I think so. Bit of a blind shot, but we'll see when we get up there.
Great shot.
Thank you.
What putter we got here?
Using a TaylorMade Spider at the moment.
Been a mallet guy for most of your life?
No, I've been blade guy for probably most of it. I do have some problems with alignment stuff. So obviously this gives me a bit more, it's a bit busier on top. So it just gives me a bit more kind of help, I guess.
Yeah.
Help and line up.
Yeah.
Oh, so we picked the right number.
Pick the right number.
Yeah. Just spun a little bit, which I assumed would happen.
Yeah.
But below the hole, uphill putt.
And always fix our pitch marks.
Yeah.
Nice. Right to left?
A little bit, yeah.
So when you're picking out spots when you're putting, are you looking past the hole? Are you looking at a spot just out in front of the ball? What are your tendencies when putting?
I'm shorter. I like to look shorter. Basically,
okay.
as short as I can go.
Yep.
So obviously I'll pick a spot where I think its line starts.
Yep.
So from here, I reckon it looks right edgy. Maybe a bit more.
Yep.
Depending on pace. So I line up my ball. So I like to line up my ball.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I'll use that line in conjunction with the top line here to really give me some good feedback of where I'm aiming. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Now it's all up to pace really. You can see if I've got my read right.
Oh.
Just went right at the end there.
Just right. Solid par.
Thank you.
No solid par.
Yeah,
Not bad.
chilling.
Yeah, it's all good.
No stress.
No stress at all. Your journey. We've talked about Hunter Valley. Let's fast forward a little bit more to this year.
Yep.
And where you and I have kind of gotten a bit of a better chance to know each other, and that was out at the Vic Open.
Yeah, that was a very special week for me. Probably the same thing, an accumulation of some great golf I'd played over the last kind of 6 to 12 months. It all came together that week. Yeah, I'm just trying to reminisce really. It was a bit of a blur, to be honest, especially on the weekend, but I played really well. No playoff this time, which is nice. But yeah, to date, that's my biggest win, my greatest achievement. Yeah, and it's really opened some doors for me.
Yeah, nice. And what doors has that opened, and where is that taking you now, through the 2024-2025 season? Yeah,
so that propelled me into a position to the top 3 position on the order of merit for the Oz Tour at the time. I just had to play pretty solid for the last 5 or so events, and I did, and I was able to get a line and get one of those 3 DP World cards. So that rolls over to 2025. They work on a calendar season, or pretty close to it.
Yeah.
So that'll be valid for next year. And yeah, we'll see how many starts we get, where we're going. I've never played Europe. I've never really, apart from co-sanctions, I've never played a European Tour event.
Yeah.
So it's a really new experience for me. It's exciting. It's a different path completely from where I thought I would be, say 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, it's just something new, something different.
Yeah.
And it's just a credit to my good golf I've been playing over the last couple of years to get myself to this position.
Yeah, it is quite interesting when you get a chance to. So you're coming from America, obviously. I know the traditional, the web.com,
Yep.
now the Korn Ferry, the Hooters tour would have been back in the day. The Nike, I think it was Nike.
Yeah, it was Nike
as well. I didn't really know about how many pathways are really open from the Australian side, whether it's the Asian tour or some of these things that maybe lead to international series or the DP side of things. So getting a chance to go play in Europe, have you talked with Mika or any of those other guys maybe about a little bit about their experience, or some of the other guys that have played a little bit over there? Or is it you just kind of just starting to figure out things on your own on that side of things?
I have been in contact with them for sure. But then again as well, this is their first time as well doing it. So they're experiencing a new thing as well in the moment. So there's a couple of people I did talk to that had pretty similar positions to me last year for the 2023 season.
Yep.
Or 2022. So yeah, they advised me that I did this and I should have done this better, or this is where I'm getting starts.
Yeah.
Just little things like that, so it can kind of sway what decisions I make, kind of come push and shove with whatever it may be.
Yeah, nice. Well, for those of you at home, look out for Brett Coletta on the DP World Tour. We'll certainly be backing you, mate. But we're also going to back you here on this par 3, and I think it's time for a birdie. What do you think?
Right, we'll give it a crack.
Let's go.
do it.
Par 3, hole 16, cleaning the club. What are we thinking?
I have 2 clubs with me. I've got my 50 degree and my pitching wedge.
Yep.
Still a little bit cold and a bit dewy, so I'm going to hit the club more, the pitching wedge. Pretty basic kind of hole here off the blue tees. Quite a large green, it spans quite wide. Not very deep though, that's the danger here, especially with that pin on the left, it really drops off just after it. So hitting this club is definitely the danger of doing that, but a good swing will reward me better than this one, I feel like. So I'll be hitting this one, the pitching wedge.
And quite often, 2 clubs to the tee.
Yeah, usually with a caddy you'll have the full bag there, but we're in the coffee and cart today, so just drag a couple with me. Saves me walking up and back.
Sorry, mate, I'd carry the bag in the camera if I could. Are you taking applications for caddies on the DP World Tour?
Yes, I am. I'll give you my email.
Yeah, no problem. It's pretty good.
Oh, short. Nice.
Par 3.
Yep.
Looks like a 9-iron.
Yep, I've got 9-iron.
Wasn't sure if it was an upside down 6 or what we were doing.
No, little 9.
Yeah, there we go.
What
are we playing with, by the way?
Clubs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Ping Blueprint tees. This is their probably latest tourish model. Great looking golf club. And perform just as good. I've got the combo set, so the 6-iron up, I've got the cavities, and then the full muscle backs for the shorter irons.
Yeah, nice. Have you been with Ping for a while?
I have. I've been with them. Oh, I've been with them since probably I was 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I'm 27,
Yeah,
so
nice.
11 years. So it's a good chunk of time. They've been really good to me.
Yeah, good. Flag's pretty center. We're just going, I mean, obviously pretty much right at it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that, folks, is a golf shot. Oh.
That was good, that one. Good look there.
Great shot, Brett.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Let's put that spider to work.
See what we can do. Hopefully it's a bit closer than we think. About to find out.
Quite the hill to climb here.
It's not the greatest course to walk.
No.
It's a good cart course. We picked a good one.
Good cart course, that's for sure. Literally right at the pin.
Yeah, just
It
flew
must have
up.
just gone over the top.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that's dead on from the tee right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that distance again?
Haven't had a full look at it yet, but looks like, whew,
It's moving that way, hey.
not a double, maybe, you think? Slightly?
Oh, it'll straighten out. It won't go back the other way. This is where I don't use aim point with asterisks. I can feel with my feet that it really wants to move me this way.
And that's feeling just as you're even walking, right?
Yes, correct. It's a pretty easy one to read. You can kind of see with your eyes that this is higher than this over here. But you can really, like, it'd be hard to see on the camera, but you can really feel with your feet the pressures of, the outside of this foot compared to the other side's quite heavy. So give it a read.
How good does the course look from this view?
Yeah, it's quite picturesque, especially this time in the morning.
Not a bad way to start the day.
Yeah. Yes, and when the fog lifts as well, it's quite nice. Turns out very clear. Just didn't turn
quite a bit right after the hole, didn't it?
Yeah.
Still on the hunt?
No damage.
No damage.
No damage.
Good par.
Thank you.
Solid golf.
Yeah. Hitting some solid shots.
Yeah.
It's just how golf goes. You don't hole them all the time.
You don't hole them all the time. Practice. Coming into the new DP season, probably some Aussie tours. How has that kind of elevated for you or changed for you over time, and maybe to where you're at now on what you're working on with your game?
Yeah, putting. Practice is very personal. For me, generally, I'll pinpoint a certain part of my game to practice on. I won't sit there and try and tick all the boxes in one day or whatever. So let's just say I dedicate a couple of days to my putting. I'll do that. I won't be out here wasting energy doing other things. So I'll give myself a few drills to do, maybe 2 or 3, and be resilient and don't leave until I finish them.
Yep.
Within reason, right? So if you're there for a few hours or however long, because putting for too long is no good for your back.
Yeah.
But I'll give myself a couple of drills that I know will challenge me but are doable.
Yeah.
And that just builds the resilience and that kind of stuff. It's essential for competitive golf. But like pre-round and stuff like that, it's very different to practice. If I'm going to do any practice long game wise, I'll make sure I've got the correct balls that I'm using, like Pro Vs or something that's not a limited flight ball, just for, at the end of the day, just saving energy and using all your energy for the best.
Yeah.
For the best way. And then short game is same kind of thing. It's obviously using the good balls that I use in comp, finding different lies, slopes. If there's something certain that's kind of bothering me, or I just feel like that I'm not working well enough with, or not getting up and down enough, bunkers for example, I'll spend a bit more time there.
Yeah.
So it's nothing too drastic or out there. The only thing I probably do consciously is make sure that when I do come and practice, I come for a reason and a plan.
Yep.
Limit my time, and when I'm done, I'm done. I go.
Yeah. Nice. And who's your coach at the moment?
I see Brandon Rabe.
Okay, cool.
Out of Metro.
Nice. And how much conversation is with him, or with analytics and data coming up a lot? Is there a lot of like, these are the numbers that happen with the round that's getting reviewed with him? What's that relationship like at the moment with your coaching with him?
It'll be more, we'll look at numbers via a TrackMan or something like that for full swing. He's got a very knowledgeable experience with all that stuff. So you'll hit a shot, let's say I've got a certain tendency, let's say it's left, long left, and I'll hit a shot and I'll be like, yep, that's the one that's been bugging me. He'll look at all the analytics on the screen that come from the TrackMan and say, yep, it's this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can tell by visual, but sometimes it's quite hard when you get to our level, because it's very, very minute. So he's good like that. There's certain things that have been bugging me previously with really full swing stuff, and certain misses that were just unacceptable and that will just kill you around.
Yeah.
So we got those ironed out, and it's going well. So yeah.
Yep. And with the upcoming season, is there a plan, just conversations before or after rounds, or what's that going to look like for you when you're overseas, to continue that check-in, or just that sort of thing with your coach?
That's a good question. I haven't had to experience it yet. There's certain times in Australia that I'll travel, let's say Perth, Queensland, Adelaide, and it'll be a check-in via phone or a check-in via FaceTime or something like that. So I have done it before, even being in America with my previous coach. It's just something you have to deal with on the road. But I wouldn't see it being a problem. We're on the same terms most of the time, the same kind of language we talk. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
it's pretty wild with technology these days and what we're able to do, whether it's the TrackMan or the Full Swings or any of these sort of things that we're able to use, and the check-ins, and just, I mean, the technology is just getting absolutely crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So let's get out there and continue the hunt for this birdie.
All right, let's do it.
Chief is back.
Yep, Ping G430.
Pretty good club.
It's a great club.
Number one on my Golf Spy. For those at home that are
wondering, yeah. I'll take your word.
So bunkers left, bunkers right. You said it's a bit of a shorter par 4?
Yeah, 300 meters. A good drive will get you within a pitching or chipping range. Good opportunity to make a 3.
All right. Oh, striped down the middle. Oh my God. Will that get to the green?
It might. There's a little gully on the right. I was just right of it. No damage though.
Can't wait to see the shot tracer of that. Great shot.
Thank you.
All right, guys, you were up here. You saw it.
Yeah.
How good?
It was pretty good shot. I could putt it in.
He said he could. Should we let him put it in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great drive.
Thank you.
What are we thinking?
It's gonna feed this way, a little left to right. Just be pretty aggressive with it. It should stun in there pretty good. The greens are a little bit soft, so green light to have a crack at it.
Oh, look at this.
It did land very soft.
That's how you do it, folks. Birdie putt.
Yep. Next left edge to me, quite firm up the hill. There it is.
There it is.
Birdie.
Don't leave me hanging. Thanks, brother. Well done.
Got it.
Got it.
You asked for it.
I did. The hunt is over.
Yes.
And so is our day coming to an end here soon.
Yes.
But what's next for you?
Like I mentioned, I've got some sort of European Tour status or DP World, so that's valid for next year, 2025. For the meantime, though, I've got some time off, which is really nice. Pretty much the calm before the storm. So by the time next year comes, I'll be looking hopefully at a pretty heavy schedule. So I'm going to take this time off now, and yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely enjoy it. Well, we've enjoyed today, and thank you for your time, Brett.
Yeah, pleasure.
Hopefully you guys at home have learned a little bit about Brett and his story, and we're also going to take a little bit of time here once we're done to go film some extra clips out on the putting green with some Back to Basics products, and maybe get into some different shots and talk through some of those at home for you guys. So be looking out for that on our socials and channels and be able to share that. But that is going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Carts. Remember to like, share, and subscribe per usual. It goes a long ways towards getting people like Brett and other players here on the channel. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. That's it for Coffee and Carts.